Alrighty, welcome back to E2W Coast Sports. We're doing a podcast today on the NBA. We're going to be talking some fringe teams and sort of what is the end of the season going to look like for them. So I'm going to talk about Mavs, Pels, OKC, and Lakers. So specifically West Coast fringe teams and sort of what does the rest of the season have in store and potentially where they're going to land come postseason. So let's start with the Mavs. So since acquiring Kyrie Irving, the Mavs are 6-9. Not great, right? I think the biggest criticism for getting Kyrie was they were losing depth and they were getting someone who sucks on defense. So, Dorian Finney-Smith, great defender, decent shooter, and Kyrie, amazing offensive scorer, but just not a good defender. And you pair that with Luka, kind of seems like a recipe for disaster. So, in my opinion, I think there is a chance that the Mavs actually slide out of the playoffs in general. Right now, they are 34-35. They are ninth in the West, and they have a decent schedule ahead of them. Nothing crazy. Looks like half good and half bad teams, but with the way that they've been playing, they might go under 500 in those remaining games and slide out of the playoffs. If not, then maybe they're making 9th or 10th in the play-in tournament, and from there, I'm pretty much betting against any team that they play in the play-in. What about the Pels? Pels, man, I feel so bad for them. It seems like every year on paper, this is going to be their year. They started off really well. Even with Zion, rehabbing his foot, I think they had a really good start. Things were looking optimistic for them. Since the trade deadline, they're 4-9. Now, they didn't really do a whole lot in the trades, so that, is not a big of a factor. Really, it just comes down to Zion not being able to stay healthy. And I think I'll touch on this a little bit before, but with the way that he's built, with how explosive he is as an athlete, it's just not sustainable. I think these injuries are not a one-off, and I think these are going to be his career unless he gets his weight down. I really, he's going to have to make some drastic changes to his body or else he's just going to keep getting hurt. I mean, the last one was a non-contact hamstring. Hamstrings are the worst. I don't even know if he's going to play before the postseason, and by then, it may not even matter. I mean, they're 33-36 right now, currently 12th in the West. I don't even think they're going to make the play-in, so they may as well shut him down and just get geared up for next season. We'll see. OKC. OKC, since the trade deadline, is 7-8. Again, they didn't do a whole lot because they are really developing their young guys, a lot of really good players. Obviously, SGA is the main guy, but overall, they have a pretty good roster. Giddey is pretty nice, and they have Jalen Williams. I believe the Santa Clara one or the Arkansas. I can't remember which one, but he is a bucket, dude. He is so good on offense. He's a great shooter. He puts a lot of pressure on your defense. Once they get Chet back, that could be a really interesting story. Now, we're going on a quick little tangent here. Chet, in my opinion, while he might be a unicorn, quote unquote, I think he's going to have health issues as well. I mean, he played a couple, he got hurt in a preseason game where he collided with LeBron James, I believe, and hurt somewhere on the lower body. I don't know, man. I know why you take a swing on Chet, but at the same time, I'm just not sold on him. And maybe he'll prove us wrong, but I also don't think these are going to be one-offs for him, and he's going to be someone who's going to be chronically injured. All right, lastly on the fringe teams here, the Lakers. The Lakers are making a run. The Lakers are 34-35, but they are 9-4 since the trade deadline. Talked about this before. The Lakers are definitely made the best trade moves in the, during the trade deadline window. I think with the Lakers, they got rid of Russ, which was the big one, and they added really good role players. Anthony Davis has been playing incredibly well, and they're about to get LeBron back. I think overall they went from one of the least deep teams to potentially the biggest bench who you trust and can actually play. A lot of quick guys, a lot of shooters, just stuff that has been proven to be successful around LeBron, they got. So say what you want about the Lakers in the preseason, they really came through in the trade deadline to surround players that complement LeBron and AD and are just good basketball players. So we'll see there. They still have a tough road ahead of them, 34 and 35, and they're 10th in the West. Their fate is not solely in their hands here. Now, obviously, if they start winning, if they keep winning, then it's going to make a big difference. But you have Golden State, Clippers, Timberwolves, and OKC and Dallas all ahead of them. Dallas is probably the easiest one to fall below the Lakers, but the rest of those teams could keep equally winning, and you're going to see the Lakers probably stay in the play-in. Wouldn't be surprised if they do climb up to the 7th seed, and if the Clippers starts, slumping again, maybe grab the 6th. So we'll see. Let's touch on the Bucks versus the Suns. What a interesting finals rematch that was. Obviously, the Suns are still a little bit depleted here. They played really well, but thinking back on that 2021, I believe, finals, it just wasn't that great. I mean, Giannis was incredible as an individual, but as a series, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about other than Giannis just being Superman out there. And guess what? He kind of did it again. He shot more free throws than the entire Suns team. And that just sort of proves the pressure that he puts on teams and their defense and how they have to foul him. He's super quick, obviously really strong. And then his size allows him to sort of elevate and, dunk or make a layup, further than a lot of players. And so as a defender, you're like, what the hell am I doing here? I got to stop him. I got to foul him. I think he only made 50% of them. So honestly, a foul is probably a little bit better of a move. Yeah, I think the Bucks are just a much better team than the Suns. It was a good game up until, the fourth quarter. And then it kind of really wasn't. Booker, though, heard a take from my boy Alchemy. He said, give me Booker over Tatum. Now, I think objectively Tatum is a better overall basketball player than Booker is, but Booker has the mindset that a lot of people question if Tatum ever will have. So I don't know if I agree with that 100%. Tatum is bigger. He can shoot just as well. He's got a really good 3-point shot. He's an incredible defender, but he just doesn't have the mindset. And to be honest, they have Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has that mindset. So I don't know if you were to swap them, would the Celtics have done any better? In my opinion, I think Jason Tatum is probably still in that top 5, top 7 best players in the league right now. And I don't think you could say that about Booker. So maybe in a little bit, we'll see how this postseason run goes, especially with KD, man. KD is going to open up so much for Booker. It kind of already showed in the 3 games that they played. But Booker's tough, man. He's a bucket. He's just prone to defensive issues. He fouls a little too much. Stuff that he can clean up. To wrap it up, Bucks versus Suns, not going to happen again. That was such a fluky finals there. But, both good teams. I think the Bucks have a much better chance to make a deep playoff run than the Suns. But that's going to be up to KD. All right. Until next time. Thanks, guys.